sexy, and salacious. Stepping right out of a mid-century MGM screen, Golden Age dream girl Valerie Va Va Valentine hails from another time, another world, and a whole new level of sass and sex appeal. Beginning her journey along her sparkle-speckled path from a tender young age, Vava has come leaps and bounds from her humble beginnings, debuting as a soloist in 2019. Only a short few years later, she's sauntering across stages all over Australia with her innovative personal take on the classic style, starring as a featured performer in shimmery burlesque, competing as a finalist in Miss Burlesque Victoria, and draping herself across the cover of internationally published pinup magazines. When she's not doing all that, you might find her at Maison Burlesque, teaching the next generation of teasers, or you might find her fitting a headdress or fixing a feather fan under her couture showgirl brand Valentine Vetements. Known for her decadent and lush stylings with her talent stretching as far as a silk stocking, it's no surprise that Valerie has made a name for herself. A night with Miss Valentine is a very, very good time.
Welcome back to the Burlesque Bulletin podcast. I'm your host, Honey Holloway, and today we are here with Valerie Valentine. Hello, beautiful.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, honey. It is an absolutely bluebird day here in sunny Melbourne today. After a few weeks of very heavy rain, it's nice to have a crystal day, a couple little fluffy white clouds, just puts you in a really nice mood.
Yay, perfect. Well, you're looking beautiful in your
Thank you.
delish.
Oh, this old thing. Just dust something casual out of the wardrobe, you know.
Of course.
Mm.
So before we get into the burlesque questions, I love to ask my guests if they know their zodiac sign and their moon and rising, if you know.
I do. I am a Leo sun,
Oh.
so I mean, if it wasn't already apparent, I am an Aries moon.
Okay.
She's got a little bit of a spicy margarita mix going on here. And then I think from memory, I'm Libran rising.
Okay. I was like,
Sounds right.
I'm seeing the Libra, like, where is that happening? It's very much about the aesthetics and everything. So Libra rising makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I've got the spiciest astrology app on the planet. CoStar is telling me constantly that I need to like get back in my lane. But yes, Libra rising. There we go. I always want to call it Virgo rising, and I'm like, no, that's wrong. Libra rising.
Excellent. Love it.
Yes.
So tell us how you got into burlesque. How did it start for you?
Oh my God. I've been aware of burlesque for a really long time. I can remember as far back as like watching old showbiz films with my mum. Um, and of course, you know, whilst I wasn't necessarily aware of exactly what it was, um, I was always in love with the showgirl aesthetic, and you know, the beautiful old 20th Century Fox and MGM films. Very enamored with the golden age beauties for a long ass time. And throughout high school, I suppose, you know, like the Extina burlesque advent of the, you know, the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Was it the Back to Basics album? Was that the one? I'm
I
pretty
think,
sure.
well, I think so. Honestly, I can't remember the finer details of it, but just remember I've got this core memory, and actually you've interviewed this gorgeous creature before of Miss Frankie Fontaine. Myself, and then another person who actually happens to be in burlesque as well, but I think she does kind of like more avant-garde stuff. I only know her Instagram handle is Fluoro Alien. I don't know if he has a stage name. I won't use her government name on this podcast, of course.
Just in case.
So yes, the three of us were in the music room dancing to the original soundtrack from Burlesque. Of course, as we all had at some stage. And I think it's funny that 100% of those people are now performing burlesque dances.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Core memory. I also, you know, grew up in Sydney and in and around the inner west. And I recall seeing at the Enmore Theatre like the big, MX Burlesque or Miss Burlesque as it was at the time, finals being held there one year. And I was just thinking like, this is the coolest thing ever. How do I get involved? And then I forgot about it for nearly 10 years, as we do.
Seriously?
And then Dita came to town, and I think this was 2017. Um, and my now ex-partner at the time and I decided to go and see a show. And it was like it all came flooding back. I went, wow, what is this? How do I get involved? Naturally, I'm not going, wow, I can do that. But I am going, that's really fun. How can I be, connected to this beautiful, glamorous art form somehow? And ended up going and looking for some classes. I started with L'Amour Gazzardi with Bump and Grinder Size at Bottoms Up Studio here in Melbourne. And I went to that fairly consistently on Sunday mornings for a little while. And then unfortunately, L'Amour injured herself. And I was very, very busy with my hospitality gig at the time. And I, again, kind of fell off the wagon for a little bit. And after a little while went, I really, I want to find a way to be connected to this again, and found Maison Burlesque when it was in Richmond. And it was the very start of 2019. And I felt like, I really needed something in my life that was going to, I suppose, bring a little bit of glamour, but also a little bit of exercise and just like some community engagement somehow. So I started fan dancing classes with Puppy Cherry and loved it instantly, took to it like a duck to water. I've got all of these really hilarious photos of me from the first showcase that I did at Maison, because I was so excited to get my tits out that I made myself like a half cup bra, because it's not a strip class, the beginners classes. And I made myself these big gold pasties with big tassels on the front of them just so that they could hang out the front of my bra. Oh, bless. And yes,
Ready. You were keen and ready.
I was so keen. I was just like, I just want to get my tits out on stage. And yeah, I mean, I suppose the rest kind of is history. I continued fan dancing. I took a couple of classes with Maple Rose. I took, I think, one term with Dolores Daiquiri. And of course, lots of drop-ins with fun and interesting people coming through the studio. One notable person would be Jacqueline Fury. I did a really great workshop with her. She's amazing, and I suppose her fan dancing style is so different to Maple's, that it was really nice to get some extra perspective. And I think it must have been within 2 or 3 months of being involved, I decided I wanted to debut as a soloist. So within having started in term 1, which is February, or right at the end of Jan, early Feb, by the time term 5 rolled around, so towards the end of the year, November, I debuted as a soloist.
Awesome.
And then COVID happened.
God.
So I suppose like it was kind of this real whirlwind of ramping up and, getting really excited about it. And then COVID hit. So that's how I got started, I guess. That's a very long-winded story. The ADHD storytelling and all of it.
Yeah.
But to give you as much perspective as possible is that I've known and loved the burlesque vibe and been connected to that for so much longer than just sort of being directly aware of the industry, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And because were you in like the pinup community or anything before that?
No, actually.
You weren't? Because I feel like you're so good at the vintage styles and the hair and everything. I'm like, surely she's done pinup before she's done burlesque.
I really got involved with some pinup photography and pinup styling as I got into burlesque. I've always loved vintage style. I can't think of a single time that I haven't loved a classic glamour aesthetic. Um, you know, a red lip and a winged liner is the way that I've worn my face for a very, very long time. Um, so I suppose, that's always been in my heart of hearts, but I haven't I hadn't learnt how to style my hair um in a classic style or hadn't been involved in any of that until end of 2018, start of 2019. So yeah.
Crazy, because yeah, you do it so well. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Lots and lots and lots of practice. I think, doing the same style because of course I'm quite well known for my poodle updo or my half up, half down. Just doing it constantly, eventually you're gonna get good at it, right?
Definitely. So how would you describe yourself in 5 words?
Comedy classic,
Hmm.
glamorous, vivacious, and a vibe. Just a real vibe.
Lots of V words.
Lots of V, vibrant, vivacious, voluptuous,
Love it.
Dixon.
So how did you come up with your stage name?
So Valentine is actually one of my given names. So
Really?
yeah, that's one of my given names from
Wow.
birth.
Hmm.
So Miss Valentine has always been my name.
That's so
Regardless
cool.
regardless of how I've connected to it. And I've always loved that, and it's such a unique a middle name. Um, and I love alliteration. I feel like there's something really delicious about having something that really rolls off the tongue. And there's nothing quite like a whole lot of V words strung together, as we've
Yeah.
just discussed. And so Valerie being a very classic name, really quite popular through the 40s. And of course, a lot of the stylings that I was pulling from when I was wanting to debut as a soloist. I love the glamour of the 1940s and early 50s. So I felt like Valerie, has this lovely classic feel, and we're gonna put the Va Va Voom in it, right? So she's Valerie Va Va Valentine.
I love it. I love it. So did
Yeah.
you, when you chose Valerie, did you sort of choose Baba at the same time? Like you were like, this is going to be a nickname type
Yes.
thing.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, there's a pin-up artist in the US called Valerie Valentine who does quite a lot of like car shows.
Mm.
She, I believe she's Mexican, and she has like that beautiful I can't remember the proper name for it, but the like Mexican pin-up thing with the like the big dark hair and the
Mm.
big earrings and
Oh,
the
yeah.
fitted. I love it. So beautiful. Um, Very much that car show kind of energy. And of course, in this industry, we like to separate ourselves from other people.
Mhm.
I still had my heart set on Valerie Valentine, so I decided that I would choose Valerie Va Va Valentine
Yeah.
for a bit of a separation between her and myself. Out of respect to her, and of course respect to potentially touring or something over there. That
Hmm.
would be really exciting. And not wanting to get confused or step on anyone's toes. And also I think that Vava for me has become to a lot of people has become my name, which
Yeah.
I think quite nice. I think it's a nice way to lean into that thing that Australians love to do, which is shorten things and have a fun little nickname for someone, and in which case I get to choose it and
Yeah.
decide to go no, Vava is my nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
I
my
love it.
hidden. Same. I also love that it, can be a bit listed like the old MGM films where it says, Billy the Hammer.
True.
No?
Yeah.
It's Valerie Va Va Valentine, which I
Yeah.
think is kind of nice. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So who's been some of your burlesque inspirations?
Oh, alive or dead?
Both. Either anything.
Gorge. Well, I find, here in the modern day, of course, I'm incredibly inspired by my beautiful mentor, Miss Maple Rose.
Mhm.
She is such a peach and just a really grounded, lovely, um, incredible, mentor and has just been such a godsend in my beginnings in this industry. She's very much a Taurus and she's grounded and headstrong and nice and firm and will definitely tell you when you've got to pick your game up, which I love about her too. And yeah, she's been really fab. Um, I am a big fan of Dirty Martini. I think that she is such a fucking icon. I love that she is so unapologetically and authentically herself, such a trailblazer, such another beautiful blonde, which we love as well. And, a really unique comedy classic style that is not necessarily doing, um, you know, comedy in the sense of creating um what's the right word for this? Like creating modern comedy. It's kind of old world body comedy, clowning almost, which we love. Um, who else? I suppose in the old world, I absolutely love Lily St. Cyr and Dixie Evans. What's not to love about those two? I pull a lot of inspiration from Lily in my styling. Um, I love the sort of boudoir, almost voyeuristic kind of uh, really intimate feel that she has. I love that there's this comedy classic vibe about Dixie, which, fabulous. So fantastic. The Marilyn Monroe of burlesque, and of course, I get called that all the time too.
Mhm.
Melbourne's Marilyn Monroe, which
That's
of
a
course
great
is,
title to have.
yes, exactly right. I'm not gonna dispute it. Um, Not so much, of course, burlesque necessarily directly influenced, but I love Lucille Ball. Again, comedy classic. Love the hair as well, so fab. Um, of course, Marilyn. What an icon. So beautiful. Oh my goodness, I could talk about this all day. I feel like each act that I create, I'm often pulling very specifically from someone. So, say for example, my daddy act is a tribute to Jane Mansfield.
Mhm.
So, this idea of sort of uh, like boudoir feel and sensuality and that sort of like pink, her iconic pink palace, like the big heart-shaped bed, like so very Jane Mansfield. Um, I, I would say Lucille Ball would be the biggest influence in my, current iteration of my Burgundy act, and also my Blue Showgirl, very much that comedy classic and all just about comedic timing and direct audience connection. But yes, it's, and then Marilyn, my Heatwave tribute,
Yes.
it's always pulling from different inspiration sources, always, and always on the hunt for new people as well.
So, what is your like creative process? Like, obviously you talked about it a little bit then, but so do you always draw from different like old Hollywood stars, or does it come from a song sometimes? How does it work?
Um, I think for me, a lot of the time music comes first. I find musicality being something that I would consider of my strong suit. Um, my connection to my music is absolute gold. Like if I don't have connection to the song and I don't have connection to that, there's not going to be a character.
Yeah.
I suppose it changes a little bit as far as exactly which order things land in. But say, for example, my daddy act, the Pink Boudoir act, and then Miss Personality, um, my two comedy classics. I would say both of them firmly started in music, and then the character has developed from there. But they kind of go a little bit hand in hand too. So, really listening to the lyrics of Miss Personality, it took me, I mean, I must have listened to that song 200 times through the big final lockdown here in Melbourne. And I love the piece of music so much. I was going like, who is this person?
Mm.
Who is like, who is this character? Originally, it was going to start out as just like, I wanted to do a blue ball gown strut and strip with like pearls and make it really glamorous. And of course, the best laid plans end up in some kind of comedy hole for me. And eventually she became a beauty queen. But of course she's Miss Personality, so
Mm.
she hasn't come first for her looks. She's come first for her person her busting personality.
Yeah.
And I suppose, the music has given me the character. It's very much same with Julie London's song Daddy. And then Mae West's song, My Daddy Rocks Me. Like, the character is there in the music. I'm just, I suppose, following instructions almost.
Mm.
The act writes itself. Uh, I think aesthetically, how can you do anything else with that piece of music other than be a little pink bratty sub, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, And same with Miss Personality. She's so prim and proper and pretty, and she's got a little tiara and a big bunch of flowers and not a whole lot else. So I think, it's so much of that comes from music first, and then I write subsequently. Um, Same with Heatwave, obviously being a tribute act, music and the original act piece is already existing, so pulling from that. But yeah, very much music. Music is key. And if it goes the other way around, sometimes I find I really struggle to
Yeah.
settle on something that feels authentic. So if I make a costume or inherit a costume, or you know something kind of happens where I want to change the music, say for example my current iteration of my Burgundy classic, that's changed so much since its debut. That was my very first act.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it took me a long time to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with that when I decided that I'd outgrown the original um pieces of music for that.
Mhm.
Um it was so, it was too Why Don't You Do Right, because absolutely every burlesque dancer is going to debut to that or Fever
Of
from
course.
Lee, right? So it was Julie London's Why Don't You Do Right, which is great. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful piece of music. But as a performer, I had well and truly outgrown Why Don't You Do Right. It's
Mhm.
time to grow up. Time to grow up.
For sure. So we're gonna go to a break and we'll be back with Valerie Valentine.
A quick thanks to Cam Attree for sponsoring the Burlesque Bulletin, and for all his hard work behind the scenes, filming and editing the podcast. Cam has been involved in the burlesque industry for over 12 years through his photography and videography. If you are a performer looking to get promo photos and video, or a producer looking to get your show photographed or filmed, please contact Cam through his website, camattree.photography, or find him on Instagram at camattree photo, video. And now back to the episode.
So we are back with Valerie Va Va Valentine. So, so what's been some of your pre-show rituals or routines that you have? Do you have any?
I do have a few. I think it's a little bit dependent on the day. Naturally, of course, full hair and makeup needs to happen at some point. So usually, typically, show day for me, because I'm quite a busy human. These days tends to be allow about an hour and a half, check over all of my things, zhuzh my hair, face of some semblance of ready, and I listen to a podcast a lot of the time. I'll find something, fun and maybe like true crime related. Sometimes I'll pour myself a little like half glass of wine and have like a little piece of cheese or an apple and some crackers and a like couple little nibbles. I do try to eat something light before a show.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have like something I do every time.
Mm-hmm.
As I find the variability of when I'm doing a show and what's happening before it is what varies quite widely. But most of the time it's podcast, listen to my tracks that I'm going to do, and also I habitually check over every single piece of my costume before I leave.
Yeah.
So I
Nice.
too many times when I was like a starting performer would I leave and I share a pair of pasties with another act or something.
Yeah.
And leave something behind and go when I get into the the gig and I go, oh my God, no, I don't have my silver pasties to go with this act.
Yeah. And that's the one thing you kind of do need. Like anything else, I feel like you can get away with.
Yeah. Underpants.
Yeah.
And pasties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these days I actually have like one spare pair of silver pasties and a G-string that I leave in my like little show kit.
Yeah. Just
that lives in there just in case. And that's like that can be lent to anyone.
Yeah.
So like if someone else is having a bad day for that sort of thing, I've got something. And it's, you can save the day for yourself and for someone else.
Yeah, for sure.
So yes, I usually go through piece by piece and I go, right, so I've got 2 stockings, 2 shoes, a headpiece, so on and so forth. So do a little of everything. And yeah, usually listen to a podcast or something, try and sort of, I think it's actually more about calming down these days than it is about G'ing myself up.
Yeah.
I think, I don't need that like whoo anymore.
Well, you've probably been like, prepping so much and listening to this. Like, I know some people listen to their song like over and over again before they, the day before or whatever. But I think sometimes you just need something completely different to sort of take yourself out of the nerves or overthinking or whatever. Like when it's the day, it's like, it is what it is. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like unless I haven't done that act in a little while, so say for example, because of the nature of Miss Personality needing quite a big stage, I don't do that act that often. And Daddy, because I require the Ottoman prop to be transported, I tend not to do that act super often. I will listen to maybe the music once or twice, like when I'm on the train on the way over to the show, or like if I'm in my Uber, I'd sort of allow that little like 20 minutes, half an hour right before I arrive to kind of mentally go, right, this is what we're doing. Just listen to the music, walk through it in my head, and then it's all said and done. But I find a lot of the acts that I do these days, like I perform my Burgundy Classic and Moonglow quite a lot, as they tend to translate nicely in more commercial spaces. That I know them like the back of my hand. So as you say, it's almost like actually removing myself from the situation a little bit and listening to something completely different, which actually helps me be a little bit more present when I'm on stage. Because if I'm overthinking it, it's going to be shit.
Yeah, for sure. So what's been one of your favorite highlights throughout your best burlesque journey?
Oh my God.
I'm sure
I
there's
just,
so many,
so
but
many. How do I even choose? I have to say being part of Shimmery, is just so fucking cool. Yeah, being part of such an amazing ensemble cast of so many inspiring, wonderful humans, and getting to work alongside Kerry and Holly, um, is just like mind-blowingly cool. Um, yeah, between that and also, I feel like things kind of coming a bit full circle and doing Whoop-de-Doo the other day. Whoop-de-Doo was one of my very first like local burlesque shows that I went to.
oh well.
Um, and I remember in my very first like business for burlesque with Poppy Cherry, she was like going around the circle and she said to everyone like, pipe dreams aside, why don't you just tell us all one sort of show that you'd like to be cast in at some stage, and it's almost like kind of manifesting it for yourself a little bit, I suppose. And Whoop-de-Doo was my and Velvet Grind, which I've now, I suppose, performed at what was the Spotted Mallard and is now Brunswick Ballroom.
Mm.
I've performed in both those shows essentially, and it's just really cool. And all of that happening kind of quite so close to each other, like recently. We were in Shimmery only not this week, but the week past.
Mhm.
And then Whoop-de-Doo was only days ago. It's just such a lovely crescendo to the end of a beautiful but very difficult year for me. And it's been a big push, but yeah, it feels really good. It feels like a really nice you're doing the right thing and you're in the right place kind of moment.
Yes,
Um,
everything's aligning.
yes, yeah, absolutely. Which, as you would know, as a fellow burlesque performer, sometimes you have moments of going like, am I doing this right? Like, is this actually going to work out for me? And it's a very niche space and a very difficult um career to make successful and actually pay your bills and and be a full-time performer. And I would say I'm still doing a little bit of work on the side that's not burlesque related, but a lot of my income these days is. And at the moment it feels like between Shimmery and Whoop, that it's kind of the affirmation of that. You just go, yes, yes, this is right,
Yeah,
this is
for
good.
sure. Love it.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
talked about the highlights, but what about some lowlights or even some stage malfunctions or things not going to plan?
Oh my God. There's been plenty of those too. Um, I would say that COVID was really fucking hard. Like it was for everyone. I I nearly quit through the first pandemic, like first lockdown in the pandemic. I yeah, I went, well, obviously this is bad timing and
Mm.
maybe I'll just do the hobbyist thing and just continue as a student. I'm glad that I didn't. Um, I would say as far as stage malfunctions go, the pièce de résistance, which is quite hilarious, really, is slowly falling off the back of the stage at Speakeasy Theatre and capsizing off the back of the couch. That was great. There's a really great video of me just going down gracefully off the side of the theater, and I'm very actually really lucky that not I was unharmed, completely unharmed. Um, I think had I have been uh sitting more upright or on the edge of the couch or something like that, I absolutely would have hit my head or crushed my leg. So yeah, it was just like, thank God. Um thank God that didn't happen. Uh,
Literally.
um, Wardrobe malfunctions. I've been pretty lucky with that actually.
Okay.
I popped plenty of pasties.
Hmm.
So my debut act, my very first time on stage as a soloist, I popped a pasty the very first time.
Shit.
Um, I opened, it was at, oh gosh, what's the name of the venue? It's above Cookie. It's here in Melbourne. It'll come to me. Um, and at the Toff in town here in Melbourne. Um, and I was standing side stage and I was with Poppy Cherry because Poppy was hosting. And she had chosen me to open the show, which is
Mhm.
great. It's a big thing of trust to have someone open the show, and that was a real privilege. But the tech had accidentally deleted all of the lighting cues for all of the performers. So we were side stage, and it's really hot side stage at the top.
Oh my God.
And they had to jig all of the cues for every single one of the acts. So I reckon I was probably standing there because they call you down, you get your beginner's call, and I reckon I must have been standing there for 20 minutes, really nervous, obviously,
Oh my
about to go on
God.
stage. And I managed to sweat through the tape on my pasty. I was
Mm.
like, anyway, I was mortified, absolutely mortified.
You
And I
think they
came off.
would have come and got you off stage or something, just been like, oh, we're just having a technical difficulty or something, but I can't believe they made
Yeah,
you
I
stand
know,
there for
right?
20 minutes.
Oh my God. And I came off stage and I had a cry. I had a big cry just as I came off. I went, I popped a pasty. I wasn't happy with the way everything went. But anyway, it was fine. The rest is history. Like you pop a pasty once, you do it a million times.
Yeah,
These days,
exactly.
just the other one off and everyone gets tits. That's
Yeah.
great.
People love
Um,
it a smidge more when that happens.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. It happened at Whoop-de-Doo the other, like literally on Thursday night. I did my, the big closing number for the first show. It's really cool to be able to close out doing Burgundy Classic, and I was having such a good time. I was just like really vibing it, and the audience was vibing it, um, and as I do my big final tassel twirl, one of them just goes flying, and I just go, "What the hell?" Tear the other one off, and just shake my titties around.
Love
So
it.
wardrobe malfunctions. I have, I've touched wood. My God, I'm gonna have to. I feel like I'm cursing myself. I'm gonna knock on my bed frame. Um, I've been pretty lucky. I've been pretty lucky. I would say, the only other, I suppose, like low light would be, I found doing MX Burlesque really challenging, like really, really, really hard.
Like
And I think
mentally or
all of it,
hmm.
everything, especially mentally, the whole kit and caboodle. I I I was having, as we, life does, I was having just like a really rough time of it
Hmm.
with um with, personal stuff going on. And I'd had a very close friend of mine pass away during the lead up to MX, and my red carpet parade, I had planned it meticulously, and as everything started to arrive, all of the bits were just wrong.
Oh
So I ended up needing to get um my red carpet dress made in 2.5 weeks,
my
and
God.
Kerry saved my ass.
Oh,
She saved my ass making my dress for me. But yeah, having to so I had to return all of the things that I had organized for my red carpet, and then somehow find finance to fund a new red carpet. It was just it was a nightmare. And then on the night, I was just a ball of nerves. I had in my striptease category, the tech desk didn't cue my music. I had to ask for it to be started.
oh God.
Yeah, I feel like that goes under tech nightmares.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure.
at MX Burlesque, that really threw me. Uh, but it is what it is. You just got to keep rolling.
Yeah.
Um, you can't go, hey, can we take it from the top? Can you give me a 5-minute breather and start again?
Yeah.
Um,
Just gotta
yeah,
keep
can I have a shot of tequila and give that another go?
Yeah.
Keep rolling, and I suppose that's the sign of a professional, I guess. You
Definitely.
just got to deal with it
For
and
sure.
just got to keep going. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I've got all of these like
All the bad things
funny,
are coming back. Yeah.
funny like stories. I'm like, oh, I blocked that out. That one went into the box. I try not to dwell on these things because otherwise they make you miserable, right?
True. So if you could choose someone to share a dressing room with, who would it be? And it can be someone who you've already shared a dressing room with or someone new.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say it's gonna be Clara Fable.
Okay. Yeah.
She's such a peach and just a really nice person. We shared a dressing room at Whoop-de-Doo just on Thursday, and she has everything under the sun in her box.
Oh,
Like
really?
if I find something, she's absolutely got it. She's so organized.
Oh, that's so good.
Like obviously, if I could pick anyone from history, there's plenty of people, but realistically, someone who I would love to share a dressing room with again would be Clara. And she's a delight. She's a really lovely, lovely, lovely person and very good at what she does. And she has all of the things under the sun in her box of treasures. So,
Amazing. Anything you need, she's got it.
yes, she's on it. She's on it. I mean, I tried to be fairly organized, but if I needed a sewing needle, which I did at the time, she had one.
Oh,
Um, Bella de Jacques, also lovely. I got to share a dressing room with them as well at Whoop-de-Doo. Honestly, all of the cast from Thursday night's Whoop-de-Doo, just any of them.
love it.
Can we do that again? The whole thing. Just all of us.
So if you could swap lives with anyone for a day, who would it be?
My God. Um, oh, that's a really hard question. Can I swap lives with my cat for a day?
Anyone. Yes, exactly.
I'm gonna swap lives with my cat.
So you can just
She's
lounge around.
she's currently sleeping in a sunbeam and she has not a single care in the world. She's been fed her breakfast. Uh, she's had some pets. She's been carried around the house. I got her a new scratching post.
Oh,
Think like, just to for your needs to be so fundamentally met, and to have no responsibility and no like uh no vi like just vibes.
yeah.
Just vibes. That would be really great.
That's probably also my answer. I feel like my dog, like she's such a diva, but she gets everything she wants. And I'm like, that sounds like a great time.
Yes. I think, though, it's not just about getting everything you want. It's just about the things that you want also being quite so basic.
Mm,
I think, I could say something along the lines of someone really famous who's going to be pampered all day.
mm,
But also, they work incredibly hard too, right? So I think that there's something nice about being a small, tiny animal that just vibes life. That sounds really great.
yep,
You know?
definitely.
Don't you think so?
Yep, definitely.
That'd be really great. I would love to just be Willow. Just be
Wait,
a
is your
little.
cat's name Willow?
Yes.
My dog's name's Willow.
Oh, that's crazy.
Wait, is this?
Do you want me to go and get her? Do
Yes,
you want to meet her?
please. Yes, I would love that.
Right. All right, I'll be right back. Oh,
Okay, is it because of Buffy?
no.
Okay, because that's the reason mine is.
All right, Goblin Child is here. This is my baby.
Oh my God, she's so cute. She's like, what are you doing? Why am I here? Oh,
Aw.
precious girl.
Isn't she gorgeous? She'll probably just come and hang out with us now, honestly.
Oh, she's adorable. My Willow is also black and she's got little speckles. She's got a lot of like gray. She looks like she's got a beard.
Oh yeah.
She's
Oh, she's just plopped herself down. She's
yeah.
made herself quite.
The interview's about her now.
Yes, yes. It says interview with Willow Valentine, which is actually legally her name.
Oh my God,
Just by
that's so funny.
Baby
So
cat.
cute.
Cute.
She's loving
But
it.
yeah, I'd love to just be this like little goblin creature. Okay. Like
Loving it.
she's just vibing. Like she just
Love and life.
how good is this?
So,
Gets to be yes, comfortable.
oh, she's gone
Cameo.
now.
Oh no, she's sitting
She's
on the
like, it's
corner of
not
the
about me anymore. I'm sad. I'm leaving. What's some really good advice that you've received?
I think that the best advice I've probably received would be to stay humble
Mm-hmm.
and to be authentically true to yourself and your art form. Regardless, I guess, of popular opinion or I suppose what the people around you are doing or what people want you to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say that, sticking to your guns and working through things authentically is definitely the best way forward for any artist. If you're trying to imitate someone else or with of course with the exception of making a tribute act, it's always going to come off as dry or inauthentic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's always been something that's been really important to me in this whole process. So just sort of having that reaffirmed throughout my career. I think also trying not to linger on potential disagreements. A burlesque, like any other dance or arts related theater space, there's always going to be misunderstandings and things that will happen between artists, and trying not to let that kind of hold you back or to dwell on them. I would say as far as bad advice goes, just letting people get away with stuff because they have a bigger platform than you, or because
that's a good one.
Because they have more power in the scene. You can't just let people walk all over you or let people do do things just because they've got more notoriety or you've got to stay true to yourself within that space as well. Yeah, I think that would probably, like, as far as the bad advice goes, is just like, oh, just like let it go. It's better for your career. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you.
So yeah, things like that. I would say that that's the worst advice that I've been given. And I'm glad that I didn't. And that's all I'll say to the matter.
For sure. I feel like that can be taken in burlesque and then also just in life in general. Don't let people get away with shit because they potentially have more power. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that it's really important to defend yourself and to, of course, like if you make a mistake, you own up. If you didn't realize something had happened, whatever, that's something that needs to be addressed. People make make mistakes all the time, and there can be communication issues. But yeah, I think like not letting someone deliberately or knowingly hurt you
Mm,
or misconstrue you, and being firm in that, being firm in your boundaries, being firm in who you are, is and not taking any shit. Yeah.
definitely. So if you could travel back in time and talk to yourself when you started burlesque, what would you say?
Hmm. Um, I would say this is gonna be really fucking cool. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
amazing.
Like, and this is gonna fundamentally change who you are. Or actually more realistically, this is going to fundamentally validate who you are.
Love it. I love that. So how do you overcome imposter syndrome? If you have any tips for everyone out there.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Um, oh God, that's such a hard question because yeah, I feel like I don't overcome imposter syndrome. I feel like it haunts me constantly. Um, I try to anytime I'm feeling like I'm getting a sense of doubt or insecurity in my own work, I think back to um how many wonderful people I admire very, very much who have um, taken the time to come to me and tell me how much they admire or like my work. Um, and it's not necessarily about external validation, but external validation is nice.
Mhm.
Um, and just try to remember that. Um, and go, no, people do actually genuinely like what you do. And I think it's taken a really long time for me to recognize that. It's actually, I would say it's probably only really in the last probably couple months that I've started to be able to get better at that. To go,
Mhm.
no, no, you're doing good. You're on the right path. Like things are going well. And that, that I deserve to be here, I guess, is kind of um I think uh it has been really hard to recognize that, but I feel like finally, after now almost to the day, it's like 5 years and 20 days,
Wow.
that I feel like I'm getting somewhere with this thing and just going, no, no, this is good. This is right. This is, you're on the right path. And
Mhm.
it it doesn't always work out that way. I
I-
definitely have days like all of us that I feel, you know, like I don't belong, or that I'm not appreciated or not seen. Um, and that I shouldn't be doing the things that I am. And then I get to do the coolest things on the planet and I go, well, this is I can't argue with the direct result, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. It's
Definitely.
like, look at the facts, and then looking at the facts, I go, well, obviously there's a reason why I get to be doing the things that I get to do. So I must be kind of okay at it, right?
Definitely.
That makes sense.
Yes, it
Like,
does. Yeah, it's like
even,
you do need that external validation sometimes to fuel what you sort of already knew or you hope that you were correct about, if that makes sense.
yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I had a couple of my colleagues, from Maison and from Shimmery, like message me after Whoop De Doo review on Thursday night and just say that they really liked my show. And it means a lot to me for someone to take time out of their crazy busy life and just to say that was really entertaining and that was really great. Um, like that they were still thinking about it the next day, or, days after even. Um, yeah, that means a lot to me. And I think that at any time that I feel like I'm having, a difficult day with my connection to my art, or that I feel like I'm not, you know, in the right lane or doing whatever I need to do in that regard, I have to think about things like that and just go, hey, these people who I think are really cool have taken time to tell me that they think I'm cool. And that,
Mhm.
for me, that is,
Yeah,
that's, I must be doing something right
definitely.
if, if that's the way things go.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you think is your biggest strength when performing?
Uh, I would say my musicality and my unique audience connection.
Hmm.
Um, I really love breaking the fourth wall. In fact, I'm running a workshop on this with Maison through summer school in January, which is actually online and live stream. So if anyone is
Awesome.
watching and would like to tune in, we will be running that both in person and online. Um, and a conversation about having an audience connection, I think, is an interesting one,
Hmm.
and we don't talk about enough in burlesque, because really, what we do is holding up a mirror to our audience, and allowing them to live through us and through our performance. Without breaking the fourth wall, it's not really burlesque, is it?
Definitely.
Um, so I would say, yeah, musicality. I like, really hitting that note, or finding stillness in the right spot, or really sort of moving to different parts of the texture of a song. Yeah, I think that that's something that I excel at. Um, yeah.
Awesome. And what about some weaknesses that you would like to
Uh,
work on?
I something that I'm definitely working on is dance technique. Um, I grew up doing ballet, and um I feel like, I'm by no stretch of the imagination a poor dancer, but I want to be both great at the clowning and the character thing, and a really good dancer,
Hmm.
which I think, requires a lot of time commitment, and is something that being a very time poor individual, I struggle with a little bit. But yeah, I would like to continue to, improve on my dance journey, and and grow in that respect. Um, I would say sometimes I struggle with nerves.
Okay.
Um, I still, sometimes go on stage, and not so much stage fright or freeze up, but you can definitely notice when I'm a bit anxious about something,
Hmm.
or feeling a little bit nervous. It's still something that, even 5 years down the line, and many, many, many shows, and thousands of people having seen me perform, it's still something that occasionally I might forget a movement, and then it throws me completely, and it does take me a moment to fully recover on stage. So it's still something that I need to think about even now.
I think that's really interesting for everyone to hear because if people have seen you perform, or even how you carry yourself online and just bits and pieces of your performance, it does seem so like you seem so natural on stage. So to hear that you have had those nerves here and there is like, I think probably comforting for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, I think regardless of, how big someone gets, and how many shows they've done, I'm sure even Dita gets nervous from time to time, you know.
True.
Um it's it's only natural. It's only natural to feel a little bit nervous, and for that to kind of you have a particularly big show, or someone in the crowd you really want to impress, or um something happens and it pulls you out of your performance a little bit, um and it takes a little moment for you to reground and be within that. um yeah, it's I suppose, I guess, a matter of how you handle those nerves is what makes you a professional comparatively to, an enthusiast or an up and comer. And how much they show, I guess. I definitely feel like, if you look at my footage from MX last year, my nerves definitely show.
Mm.
Um, I felt very nervous during my first act at Whoop-de-Doo on Thursday. And I said that I thought it was apparent, but apparently not. So
Okay.
maybe that's a signifier of growth as a performer. And the way that we develop our handling of that feeling on stage, and exactly how we go about managing that feeling.
For
Mm.
sure, for sure. Well, we're going to go to another break and we'll be back with Va Va Valentine.
Live the luxury feather fantasy with Valentine Vetements by Valerie Va Va Valentine. Va Va creates bespoke showgirl accessories that redefine glamour and luxury. Whether for a dazzling performance or a special occasion, Va Va's show-stopping showgirl headdresses, accessories, and feather fans are the perfect touch of glamour to bring your burlesque vision to life. Indulge in the glamour. Live the luxury fantasy. Commissions are open right now, so head to Va Va Vetements on Instagram. That's va.va.vetements on Instagram.
We are back with Va Va Valentine and we're going to play a game. It's called This or That. So basically, you just choose your favorite, this or that.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Rhinestones or feathers?
Feathers.
C string or G string?
C string.
Okay. Boa or feather fans?
Oh, oh my God. Me personally, I quite like a boa, but I also love making feather fans. So,
True.
okay,
Yes, because you have like a side business, don't you? Of
I
making.
do. Yeah, I've
You want
got
to plug it right now? Just for
I
fun.
do. I do. It's called Valentine Vetements. I make hats and I make feather fans. I'd love to make boas down the line too, but it's actually a really complicated process to make feather boas. And of course, ostrich feathers, particularly post-pandemic, are not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's fabulous. I'm working on a really fantastic, I reckon it's probably the most beautiful hat that I've made so far.
Wow. Is
For
it for yourself or someone else?
it's for one of the MX competitors for next week.
Oh,
This will
exciting.
be coming out afterwards, so maybe I can give you guys a little like sneak preview.
It will come out after, so yeah, maybe you can if you
Oh,
want.
all right, hold the line. I can do that. So this is my latest creation.
Wow. Wow, wow,
It is
wow.
very, very Ziegfeld Follies.
Oh my gosh. Stunning.
Isn't it fab? I made the this front applique here from scratch. So
Wow.
um this is like an offcut from a vintage felt like hat cone that I used to make a little pillbox. And I had only just enough to make this part here. And then I've hand stitched on all of these beautiful textured rhinestone trims. So I have like a SS30, SS20, and then an SS16, all hand stitched through there. And then all of these beautiful rose crystals with this beautiful little dangle that I've made too, which is so very Vegas. I love it. It's like, and then look at these gorgeous feathers. And actually, it's not currently in there, but it has a removable feather attachment that sits on the
Ooh,
top here.
very
So there's this
cool.
actually big central feather it's currently sitting on my dining room table, that sits in the middle here that is like the crowning jewel that's like fully rhinestoned and like really sexy, so that she
Wow.
can pull it out of the top of her hat.
And
But yes, I love
who's that for?
this is for Jackal Doll.
Yes, I just listened to her episode with Stripped Back. And I
Oh my
had
God.
never I didn't know about her, and now I'm obsessed. So I'm very excited to
Oh,
see what she
oh, and
brings
my
to me.
cat is currently attacking. She's oh, snack. She thinks it's a snack. Don't do that. You're a goblin. But yes, this is so very Ziegfeld Follies meets like Vegas Showgirl. I'm really happy with it. I love this like beautiful diamond. Stop eating that. Oh God. Yes, I'm very, very, very happy with it. So yes,
Stunning.
it's going in the post on Monday morning express so that it's ready with her in time for MX Burlesque.
How the
Yes,
heck do
it's
you put it in the post?
it'll need a nice big box.
Jeez.
A nice big box, but yes, it's very fabulous. Hang on.
Wow. Amazing.
So yes, I make hats, as you can see.
Yeah.
And I make feather fans as well. But yeah, the hat making is my true passion.
Hmm.
Sorry to completely
That's
derail your
okay. It was a great
okay.
tangent. I love that. I'm glad we got
It's
to
a
see
plug,
that.
a shameless plug.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so lace or leather?
Oh, I'm gonna say lace.
Diamonds or pearls?
Pearls.
Drag or burlesque?
Burlesque.
Stocking peels or stripper heels?
Stocking peels.
Big stage show or intimate bar show?
Big stage show.
Cabaret or comedy?
Comedy.
Movies or a TV series?
TV series.
Do you have anything that you're watching at the moment?
Oh my God, I am on the second to last episode of From, and I am just on the edge of my seat.
Is that the
I love
Lost thing? The Lost spin-off?
yeah. Co-written by the people from Lost.
Yeah,
It
someone
is,
told me about
so-
that the other day, and I was like, I haven't even heard of this.
it's very scratch your head, like confusing, but in a
Okay.
good way. In a like a I need to know more kind of like crazy. This is wild. I love it.
Okay,
It's so good.
I'm gonna have to watch it because yeah, you're the second person that's told me that it's really good and they're obsessed. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
I think I
and I
think
never watched Lost, so
if you like a little bit of sci-fi horror,
mhm,
I think that it's like right up your alley.
definitely.
Um, yeah. If you liked Lost or if you like any of that sort of like vibe,
Awesome.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
And Halloween or Christmas?
Oh. I'm gonna say Christmas
Hmm.
because I like the food
Okay,
and I like receiving presents.
that's fair.
So, my beam it is at Va Va Valentine. So if you want to treat me for Christmas,
Heck yeah. Red or white wine, if any?
oh, my my day job is actually as a sommelier. So I
No
am a little
way.
bit impartial as
Mhm.
far as exactly because it's so dependent on the weather and how I'm feeling. But if I could only drink one thing for the rest of my days, I would probably say like a light red. I
Okay.
really I really like light red wine. And because you can like serve it chilled if it's a hot day. It doesn't have to be just served warm, room temp, that sort of thing. Like it's versatile. Whereas white wine's pretty gross, unchilled.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say probably light reds if I had to choose.
And what about cocktails or beer?
Cocktail. Although
Anything specific?
I don't mind beer. I will have a very hot day. Um, Cocktails. I'm a dry gin martini kind of gal.
Nice.
I like it with an olive, and I tend to favor fragrant gins.
Hmm.
Um, I don't really like super sweet cocktails, although I will have them from time to time. I do like Clover Clubs. I'm a bit of a gin gal.
Hmm.
Mm.
Nice. So that's all of our game and all of our questions. But what have you got coming up in the new year, and where can we find you on social media?
I would say the best way to reach me is on Instagram at var.var.valentine. Of course, you can reach me via email if need be. That's Valerie Valentine Burlesque at gmail.com. I will have my website up and running early in the new year, which is very exciting as well. So that'll be vavavalentine.com.
Awesome.
We love. And oh my goodness, you know what? I actually don't know what's happening next year yet. Everything's kind of like really up in the air. I have
Mhm.
nothing really major locked in at this stage. So I guess for all of us, myself included, it's going to be wait and see.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm sure something exciting is going to come along. I had no idea what this year was going to look like, and by golly gosh, it has been a whirlwind of exciting and new opportunities. I have a few things that are on the down low that are in the works, but I don't want to speak before the chicken has hatched per se.
Totally.
So watch this space, follow me on socials, and when I eventually get around to it, I'm sure I'll publish all about it. And yeah, it's really exciting. I'm thrilled to step into my 6th year as a burlesque performer and into 2025. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for Jess.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you being here and yeah, sitting down with me to have a chat.
Yeah, it's been really nice and a long time coming too. So I'm really glad that both of us managed to finally make the time.
Definitely. Awesome.
Thank you, my darling. Have a
Thank
wonderful afternoon.
you. All
Take
right.
care
Bye.
and take care. Bye.
Thank you so much to our guest for being on the podcast and letting us take a peek behind the curtain of their lives. Thanks for everyone joining us, and we will see you in our next episode.